you.
This old bar.
I was gonna say something. Okay, my turn.
Wait for the drop. We're not streaming, are we? Oh, we're live? That's good. Excellent. Thanks for the
Or heads up.
the live cue. I guess you want to start, Bruno?
Let's start.
All right.
Hello, everyone. This is Bruno and Hagen. We're reporting live from our studios in South Lamar. And this is the RO stream because there's no building without us.
Teaming.
There you go. It took us
Oh.
just a couple of weeks to get it.
Yeah.
Straight.
Well, last time you didn't give me whatever. We won't
Didn't
get
give you
into it.
time. I'm sorry.
Yeah, it's a touchy subject between the two of us.
I know. We're
Once the
working
fight's
on it.
over. Yeah.
How are you, though?
I'm well, doing great. Yeah, really no complaints. This week has been pretty awesome. Last week was pretty great. Yeah, I'm just loving life.
What's been awesome about it, apart from hanging out with your colleagues?
I mean, it's the people, right? No, but really, yeah, it's been great being back in the office. Because last week we were traveling around and whatnot. Was it last week?
Right. No, it was 2 weeks ago.
Oh God, time flies when you're having fun, right? But it's nice. It's not nice, yeah, being back in the office, just kind of digging into the data from our
how was the tour?
survey.
Now that you're all wrapped up, what's it like? You get to do any cool insights?
Not yet, but we are working on it. So check this out.
I'm checking it.
Okay, this is the coolness we were talking about earlier. So we are feeding the recordings that we get. So the one-on-one dialogues that James and I were having, really it's just James and the other person. I'm just kind of sitting there taking notes. But we're feeding it into, I guess, an AI, for lack of a better word, and it splits out the audio per speaker. So you have a James and you have, take Callum, for instance, because that's the one I was listening to earlier. So it splits it out, uses just bases on their audio, their sound of their voice, and then we feed it into OpenAI's Whisper platform. So everyone knows about ChatGPT. OpenAI also has Whisper. And so for that, it transcribes everything. So it takes the audio and actually just puts it down into text. And so that way we're getting that text from the individual speakers, and then we can kind of do some neat little analysis.
Is it accurate whenever he translates?
It's pretty cool, yeah. It's funny when someone mentioned, I think, a website, and then like it gave the URL for the website after it. It was kind of weird. Like it said like see more at this, and no one said anything like that. So it's a little weird at times.
Trying to help. Trying to be smart.
Yeah, I guess. And then sometimes there was one time where it just like kept going and no one was talking. So it's a little buggy, but otherwise like 95% of the time it works. So it's pretty neat.
Oh, are you guys going to publish all this findings somewhere, or
Mhm.
what's the plan?
That is the plan, is to publish findings, yes. Not super concrete on what those findings, what we'll kind of showcase, but I guess more or less like, do people want deep dives? Do they want quick implements? What are kind of the resounding themes that we're getting from people in terms of like what things suck, right? And so that can kind of, guide us onto what kind of things we focus on, right? If it is deep dives, we have a few ideas of where to take it. If it is quick implements, we have plenty of ideas in the innovation station that we could tackle. So
It's very exciting.
yeah, I think
Looking forward to it.
Yeah, I hope everyone is,
I mean,
coming
I know
to
you
an
guys
inbox near you.
Well, I know you guys spent some time on this. It's nice to
This
see.
is our OKR for this quarter, yeah.
Oh, is it
All
really?
focused on what do people want from R&D, the 2.5 of us.
That's exciting.
Yeah.
Looking forward to the findings.
Yeah, and what about in your world? What's going on in VDC?
But you see, a couple things. I know we always say we're busy, but actually yesterday, my colleague, Cesar Gonzalez, and I were invited to go present at the ACE program.
Okay, what's that exactly?
It's a little program where mentors from the industry come together and then they work with high school students just to kind of show them about the industry, teach them, and give them little tips. I know ours has usually a big presence. I know Lily Kelly, shout out, she's on the board.
Whoa,
this
really?
year.
Wow.
She used to be a mentor. I know our fellow Cesar, he used to be one of those students. That's how he found RO
Really?
as well.
That's crazy.
And then kind of shout out to Haley and Andrew Kilburn from the pre-con department because they're currently mentors as well.
That's pretty cool. Wow.
So it's pretty exciting. I know if anyone's interested out there, want to join in, I'm sure you can just shoot an email to Lily Kelly, and she can probably get the information you need so you can be part of it. I know this year might already be a little late to join, but surely next year it's a cool experience. You get to shape young people's minds.
Dang, that's pretty neat. And the presentation went well. Did you inspire those chillins.
Hopefully. Yeah, we did like an overview of VDC as a department, and Cesar went to his logistics of visualization and how those come about.
Show off all the sexy topics.
Exactly. Get saucy out there. But yeah, other than that, he was also nice. Him and I walked around, got to see what the students were working on. We actually, one of them asked if I had some Revit tips to give him.
Oh, cool.
Let's put in the spot.
In high school, they're using Revit?
Some of them are. Some of them
That's
using
bananas.
Blender like Cesar. One of them,
Really?
I want to say, it was better than Cesar, but he could be his intern. But yeah, it was pretty cool because yeah, it's a nice little project. So check it out if you're interested.
And that's ACE, just like ACE.
Like Ace, you're doing tennis. When I play you,
Nice.
aces all day.
Well, yes, you're much better than I am. So if you're not, then that's a problem.
Oh yeah, don't worry.
Okay.
I am people. So that was pretty exciting. And I know at RO we also, I don't know, do you know what this week is?
No. Well, yes, but I'm going to let you tell me what it is.
Oh, it's actually Women's in Construction Week.
Wow, this week.
I know. So if you follow any of our social media, I'm sure you've been seeing some of the posts and kind of highlight moments for some of our wonderful women in RO and in the industry.
Oh yeah, the ROTVs, they kind of cycle. There's a cycle through all the ladies. that are
Cycle.
working
There's
there.
an Instagram reel. There's
Oh, really?
specific posts highlighting people.
That's cool.
So yeah, it's a whole week. So keep your eye out for any social media
Yeah, I'll
insight.
definitely check that.
And here's their cherry of the cupcake.
Okay.
It's also today,
Today.
Wednesday, March 8th.
8th.
It's International Woman Day as well.
Really? Today?
Today. I know, great use of that. So again, it just seems to be a perfect day to always celebrate women today. So to all the women out in the industry, kudos to you.
Yes. Thank you.
You're gonna add something?
It's actually my mom's birthday too, so it kind of worked out nice, I guess,
you
for her.
just remember now.
No, I did. Well, my phone told me, so
Nice.
mom.
So yeah, if you see any lady out there from RO or in the industry, give him a shout, give him a high five, one of these, pat on the back. I don't know what you give.
James thumb up.
Just
Can't really
celebrate
get his
them.
thumbs up.
But yeah, so that's pretty exciting.
Yeah.
Anything else you wanted to bring up?
Not from R&D, not from I don't know, VDC or anything of that nature. Well, thank you, sir.
Thank you. Oh,
Oh, okay. Well,
not for me. Don't spoil the guest, James.
yeah,
Jeez,
gosh, no one knew who it was. Now everyone knows.
But I think.
Oh, I do have one update.
Oh,
See, this is why we write notes.
yeah, go ahead.
It's just a general announcement for those Austin folks. We have the CLC, Construction Leadership Council. The kickball event is at the end of the month, March 31st. That's a Friday. And let me check my notes here. It's from 9 a.m. to 4 p.m.
Where at?
Oh, I'm assuming Krieg. Krieg. Krieg.
By Riverside.
Yes.
Perfect.
It's right by the... Help me with the project. It's right over there. Roberto Haas is on it. Red Bluff. Thank you, Cesar. Yeah, it's right over there.
And to sign up, how can we sign up?
Look for an email from James, and then just respond to that email and just say, "Hey, I want to join the kickball team." That's what I did at least. So
Perfect.
Yeah.
That's exciting. And then kind of one little reminder. I know we've talked about it before. The RO recap. You should have received an email kind of highlighting some of the cool events happening at RO. And then if you didn't know, the recap goes beyond the email. So no, all the information in the email is not the full recap story.
Really?
You actually can go to SharePoint to read more about that.
Okay, I did actually. I think I could click on that and I saw some more information.
Yeah. So if you want to read more about that recap issue of the month, just click on the SharePoint link.
Okay, cool. Yeah.
But other than that, I think we're ready. Are you ready?
I am. Is Cesar's finger ready?
I think so.
All right, it's time for
Hardhat Questions.
Woo! Do you want me to read or?
You can go ahead.
Got a handful of good questions this week.
Oh,
we were down.
I'm nervous.
Now we're back up to a good little speed. Shook it, but the things didn't even move. So
it's all illusion.
I don't want to do that one.
Oh my goodness, that's not how it works.
Well, I'll do it. They'll do it next. Okay. So this is
From who?
from Mike Katz at Mike Wazowski.
Oh, Mike Wazowski.
Made me read that off. I submitted a question a while back. excuse me, I submitted an idea a while back. Where can I see if it's being worked on?
Oh, I think this question is directly for you.
Okay, yeah, maybe I shouldn't read these questions. Should have read the other one. You can check out IRIS. So,
What's Iris? Where is Iris?
well, IRIS stands for the Interactive Roadmap for the Innovation Station.
Ooh.
It's a mouthful, hence IRIS. And it's actually, so it's on the Innovation Station. So if you go to the Innovation Station, I don't remember the link, innovate.ro.
I usually do r-shell.com/idea.
Oh, okay. Yes. I just go to the company apps and look for it there. Actually, I have it bookmarked, but whatever. In there on the top right, there's a little, it says Iris. It's in red lettering. You click on that. And it takes you to like a little, it's a web app embedded in the Innovation Station. And you can click there. And there's a little button that says all scored ideas. You click that, and then you can type in either your name of the submitter. So Mike, you can type your name. Or you can type in actually parts of the name of the idea, and you can find it, click on it, and that'll show you at the top. There's a status actually associated with it, actually on the side there. It'll say if it's in hold, that means we're not currently working on it. If it's in discovery, that means we're kind of looking for ideas and things like that, and researching it. And then if it's implemented, well, it's been implemented. Yeah. Well, the majority of it has been. It's either like in beta testing or something of that nature. So,
well, exciting.
Iris.
And now you know where to go, Michael Katz.
Michael Katz.
Or Mike Wazowski.
Mike Wazowski, yes.
Here's the next question. Oh, it's related to it. And this one is from Marco Diaz at Marco Polo.
Polo.
I saw my DS scored at 52. Is there a way to appeal that score?
Yes, it is very much directly related. It's almost like these have been curated. It's on Iris again. So go to the Innovation Station, click the tab, Iris at the top.
Mm-hmm.
You can search for your idea the same way. Click all scored ideas, search for your idea, click on it, and then you'll actually see the score breakdown on the left-hand side. What we use, we call the RICE method. So R stands for reach, how many people. I is the impact that it has on those people that it's affecting. C is the confidence, so how confident we are in our estimate of reach and impact. And then E is the effort, so how many months it would take to implement that idea for one person.
If someone wants to appeal this score that is given.
Right. Then right underneath that is a little button that says appeal. It might say appeal score or appeal. It says the word appeal in it, regardless.
You create this dashboard?
I did. I don't appeal scores, so I don't remember exactly what I wrote. But click that, and then it gives you a little web form, and then you can select which of those four metrics, R, I, C, or E. It can be all of them. It can be one of them that you want to challenge or appeal. And you can type a little note like, hey, I think it will reach more people, or hey, I think this impact will be higher than what you said, so on and so forth. And then they hit submit, and then that'll send an email to you, Bruno Cicchini, myself, Hagen Fritz, and James Donald Holmes. Yeah. And then we'll get together and potentially get with you to kind of talk about why you think that score is incorrect, or how we understood your idea. Yeah, misscored your idea. And shout out to Lacey Williamson and Andrew Gessler, because they are the only two people that have appealed.
Well, there you go. So if you've submitted an idea and you've seen the score and you don't agree with the score, feel free to appeal it. Again, just go to the Innovation Station, the Iris tab, find your idea, and appeal it. But I think with that,
I think we can do one more. I think that's what
we can do one more.
Yeah, that's what that finger means. Oh, 2, 3, 4, 5, all of them.
Wow. Cool.
Want me to read it?
I'll read it. I can read. If you had to choose someone to replace you in your job,
that's not what it says.
Who would it be?
Oh, that's not what it should have said. But okay. Let's see.
From James.
If you could hire someone to replace you. Well, I'm gonna phrase it differently.
What do you think it meant?
If you could hire anyone, who would it be?
Oh. We need to talk to our writers.
I know, yes. Gosh, our writers. But if I could hire, well, I can't hire anyway. I don't have that power. But if I could have anyone in the R&D team, I was trying to think about that. Because I feel like I wouldn't want like a super great web developer, because like, as everyone always says, right, it's about the people here at RO. And I feel like you're not trying to hire just the best of the best in terms of like on paper, right? You want that personality and that people person. So it'd be kind of difficult. I I want to try to think of also someone kind of famous,
I
but
have to make a quick answer.
sorry. So my old graduate advisor, I think I would choose him, Zoltan Nagy. He has kind of like the honesty and like the critical honesty that James Donald Holmes has. Kind of a good manager. He's not afraid to call bullshit on things, something like that. I appreciate that. So I think he'd be a good addition. He knows his tech and he knows how to manage pretty well, and so I think he can fit in nicely.
Perfect. And I think that's a perfect segue to introduce our guest today.
Oh, our guest today.
He's someone very special. Some companies have acrobats, some people have stunt doubles. This guy complements both of those positions.
Wow. Okay.
It's a big deal.
I didn't know that about him.
He's experienced, he's quick on his feet, and he's not afraid to get his hands dirty. He's a real survival type of fella.
Oh.
And I actually had the honor of working with him through 5 years. I've seen him grow into this new role that he's in right now. And it's always a pleasure working with him. It's an honor, really. And I know, you might have pocket change to help you in tough needs.
Right.
But this man puts the ash in cash to get the job done.
Nice.
So without further ado, Mr. Ash Gilliam.
Yay, Ash. Woo. Bruno, I am so frustrated.
Why are you frustrated?
Because I don't know how to fill out these dang RFI. I don't even know what an RFI stands for. And then I send it out and people have no idea what I'm talking about. I wish there was a place that I could go where I could figure it all out.
You want to learn about RFIs, know how to submit them, where to submit them?
Yes. Can you teach me?
Well, actually, our OpEx department has this fancy little tool called Playbook 2.0.
Playbook 2.0?
Playbook 2.0.
Playbook 2.0.
That's right. And it's actually a web-based interface where you can log in, type out what you're looking for, let's say RFIs, and it'll pull up a list of a lot of cards, quote unquote, with a lot of information on the topic you're looking to learn about.
Interesting. I have a lot of questions for a lot of different things. Is it just operations stuff, operations material? Is there more?
That's the beauty of this playbook. It actually incorporates all the departments.
All the departments.
Where you can learn about marketing, BDC, even R&D can learn
R&D's on there?
about that. So you can always log in, go to the department you're looking to learn something about, and just ask away.
That's
that easy.
Has this been around for a while?
It was introduced recently. So no, it wasn't been a while.
Feeling ready for the show here?
To every our employee.
World went up a day so far.
Well, thanks so much.
It's not stopping yet. We've got another 48 minutes to go.
2.0.
After that, hopefully it's an easy drive back to San Antonio.
We got it.
So, Mr. Ash Gilliam, thank you for making. I guess you didn't really make the trip up here for us today, apparently, but you did find some time in your afternoon to hang out with us, though.
Yeah, wouldn't miss it.
We're very excited to have you here. It was funny though. I was thinking about try to rotate the guests around, right? Get some different people, different positions, and all that. And we've basically had 4 superintendents in a row. Some of them have transitioned into new roles. Mark Urabaz is out there as an MEP super, and then we had Mr. Grammer up here, who's now in OpEx but formerly superintendent. Last week, Mr. Wes Elliott, senior superintendent down there in Houston. And now today we have yourself. So what was your prior role? Where are you at now? How'd you get there?
Oh, okay. I kind of grown up with Rogers O'Brien. Started straight out of Texas Tech. Was an office engineer, which is now a project engineer. In Dallas, I was in Dallas for 5 years. Project engineer, then QM. Was an assistant superintendent on my first job here in Austin, or the Austin region, which was Forest Park and San Antonio. Was an assistant superintendent there, and then kind of graduated up to a superintendent, I guess. Did a couple jobs as a superintendent, and then kind of transitioned out of the ops role into my current role.
That's a very brief synopsis of it all, I think.
The Cliff Notes.
Yeah. I don't want to be too generous here, but I feel like a lot of those early years are kind of similar for a lot of people. You go out on a project, you learn how to write an RFI, you learn how to do a submittal, you learn how to write a contract, you learn how to get trades to show up and partake and be effective at their jobs and all that. But where you really broke from the norm was your move into director of quality, really just quality efforts in whole. What drew you into that? What was there something in particular you saw in the field, or was there? I think this is something we have genuinely not talked about, so I'm
Yeah, I
curious
was
to
going to
hear.
say that wasn't part of the notes that you gave me, but it's a legit question.
Those are guidelines only.
Okay. So my first job, I was in Fort Worth on West 7th. It's a 3-city block mixed use development there, just west of downtown Fort Worth. And the block that I was on was the Northeast block, which had a 7-story office building, cast in place garage, and then a 5-story steel building. Well, the glazing contractor on the office building, I'm not going to say their name, but they were fairly new to the glass world. And long story short, I spent probably 6 months towards the end of that job water testing glass, because literally every elevation, every window pane in that job leaked. And so I learned at a really early part of my career how important quality was, and making sure that things go in right the first time, and what the trickle down effect of not doing it right the first time. I realized that pretty early on, so within the first couple of years. And so that kind of led me to kind of my passion for envelopes, and then working with Paul Johnson on skin details, and on the envelope side of things, really kind of just transitioned kind of naturally to my current role outside of ops. The other thing, so that's professionally. Personally, I was a superintendent, like I said, working in San Antonio, and I have twins, and so they were getting to where they were, starting to play baseball and basketball and soccer, and I wanted, a little bit better balance in my my personal life, and so, having the opportunity to kind of step away from a superintendent that's on the job, 5, 6, 7 days a week, 10, 12 hours a day, that coupled with the quality piece and the envelope piece, working with Paul, it just seemed like, the perfect fit for me. So
That's very cool. I feel like you got lucky to some degree in having a Paul Johnson here.
I've been very, very fortunate all throughout my career at RO. I mean, even how I found RO, it's kind of a funny story.
Let's hear it.
I hesitate to give him credit, but I have to give him credit. Jonathan Grammer actually is how I got here. So like I said, I was at Tech. We were buddies at Tech, along with several others that currently work here, and then some others that have moved on. But I have an agriculture background, and so when I went to Tech, I actually was in an architecture program. Quickly realized that wasn't for me. Went to the construction program, but all throughout my Tech career, I worked in the Animal Science Center, because it's kind of my ag background from growing up. And so when I finished school, I had zero construction experience. And so,
With a construction science degree, no construction experience.
No field, on-site, hands-on experience. I had done, I'd worked at the Animal Science Center on campus all throughout my 4 years at Tech, and lesson learned. But anyway, so I needed an internship to graduate. I was done with my classes, but I needed an internship to graduate. And so I found a contractor in Santa Fe, New Mexico, building wastewater treatment plants. But we were in Espanola, New Mexico, which, if you know about that, you probably, hopefully haven't spent much time there, because it's a pretty rough place. And kind of hating life. I was living in Santa Fe, I was 21, 22 years old, and Santa Fe is kind of more of a retirement type atmosphere. And Jonathan Grammer and Trevor Reedy, Trevor doesn't work here anymore, but those two were actually coming back from RO from an internship, going back to school. And so I was talking to them and saying, hey, I got to get out of New Mexico. How was y'all's summer at RO? And Grammer said, interesting enough, I think they're hiring. And, this is 07, 08, where the economy is kind of already starting to go down, and people are starting to kind of tighten up. And so Grammer put me in contact with Carrie Hughes, and I flew out to Dallas and met with Carrie and a host of others, and the rest is history. I moved to Dallas, and was there for 5 years, and so and I guess in some ways I kind of owe it to grammar, even though it's hard to say that. But no, it's been good. So
It's funny. It's strange how those things work out. Just those little details here and there. Like
it is.
I'm just imagining if you had gone off and had done some internship with another great company that wasn't RO, you might be like, oh, this is pretty cool. I think I'll keep doing this. Like, I'm in Miami for the summer. Like, this is great. I'm going to stay here. I'm going to keep working with whomever, building stuff. But as it turns out, being in New Mexico as a 20-something-year-old college student isn't not a highlight.
Yeah. Santa Fe, I mean, I always tell people you can see all the cool things about Santa Fe in about 2 weeks, and then you're just in Santa Fe the rest of the time. So
unless you're into crystals and vortexes and things of that nature, you're pretty limited on entertainment.
Exactly.
So I'm curious. I know you said you have a bit of an ag background. Your family's from San Antonio area. I'm assuming that's where that comes from. Is that correct, or is
That's correct? So, growing up, my family owned a livestock auction that I worked at throughout grade school. Then we also had a family ranch where we raised cattle and crops.
So what you had that background, you obviously have family ties to the ag industry. What made you go into construction instead of pursuing that as a career?
Great question. I always knew that I had that kind of to fall back on, like if whatever I did didn't work out. And so a lot of people with that background kind of stay in that lane, and they'll go animal science or ag or anything like that. But, I like to, growing up, I always had Legos and constructor sets, and like I liked building things. And so I think it was my mom actually that was like, Tech's got a great architecture program. And I was like, okay, well, I don't know what else I'm going to do. So I might as well just do that. And I think it took about all of maybe 2 days to realize that it wasn't for me, but I was kind of stuck in it for the rest of the semester. There's kind of a common joke around the campus at Tech, or there was back when I was there. Is, everybody would always ask, where's the architecture building? It's always the one with the light on at night, because there's people there nonstop, working nonstop. And so, and I think that kind of plays out in our industry, right? Architects, you hear about the demanding schedules and the crazy hours they work. But so yeah, I was in architecture. I was hating it. Tech's architecture program's a little bit different, where you don't have to take basics, and so I was having to stay through the entire semester because I was already in it, knowing that I wasn't going to get to transfer a lot of the credits. But so anyways, Tech was playing Ole Miss in football, and my mom's college roommate lives in Jackson, Mississippi, big Ole Miss fans, and so I actually flew to Jackson to go to the Tech Ole Miss game. And my mom's college roommate's husband owns a large construction company in Mississippi. And so we were talking about how much I hated architecture. And he said, well, hey, Tech's got a really good construction program. And, kind of similar to how I got into architecture, I was like, well, I don't have anything else to lose. Don't know what else I'm going to do. So I got into it and I loved it. Tech's program is a little bit different than like an A&M. It's more of like a field oriented. So you're taking surveying and those type of classes versus, the financial side of it. And so it really, it kind of connected with me. The field side of it is really what I connected with. So, like I said, I've been very fortunate and lucky all throughout my career, how I got to RO, how I got into construction, even to the role, like I was mentioning before, the role I'm in today is, I kind of fell into it from, previous experiences, and kind of developing an early passion for quality, and then being kind of right place, right time, looking for a change, because of my personal life. So I've been very fortunate throughout, so can't complain.
Seems like a recurring trend that with people that show up on here, just right place, right time, whether they're moving here from out of state, changing positions, changing career fields, whatever the case is. If you're a chef that's getting into construction, or someone doing digital marketing out in Atlanta, and you decide to drift onto this side of things, it seems like there's some common threads of opportunity, I suppose.
They really, I mean, and excuse me, a lot of it, I owe a lot of it probably to RO more than anything. like I said, I was 5 years into my career in Dallas. We were fixing to start Moody Coliseum. I had twins that were 6 months old. My wife and I are both from San Antonio area, and so we were not sleeping whatsoever because the twins and no family. And my wife was kind of prodding me and hey, we need to move back, get closer to family and friends. But I really didn't want to leave RO. And it got to the point where my wife was pretty much splitting halftime at home with her parents. She would leave midweek, take the babies, and then I would fly down that Friday, Saturday when I could, drive back with them. And so it got to where we just needed to move. And I remember thinking, like, how am I gonna even ask if I can relocate? I'm 5 years into my career, and we're fixing to start this big job, and I was supposed to be a part of it, and how will all that work? And I remember distinctly one night my wife said, "You can stay, but I'm going. If you want to stay, you can stay, but me and the kids are going." And so I was like, "All right, it's time." And kind of circling back to where I'm going with this, walking into Kerry Hughes' office that day, it really telling him, "Hey, I really want to stay with RO. I love RO, but I have to go. I just have to go." And there was no feeling of this is you're making us jump through hoops, or we're gonna have to do this or that. It was completely understand. We want to keep you. Whatever we can do to keep you, we'll do. And facilitated me getting down to the Austin office and facilitating that whole process. I think that's really where I knew I was kind of an RO lifer. Was we always say that we're family oriented in our culture, and that really cemented it for me. Like, they didn't owe me anything. It wasn't like I was a long tenured employee at that point. And that's really stuck with me. That they made me feel like it was not a big deal. We want the best for you. We want the best for your family, and we'll work around it. And so that was really cool. So I owe a lot to RO as well, as far as being lucky and getting to where I'm at 100%.
I know these three know. I think anyone who watches or listens to this frequently knows that I always have to ask, what do you love about RO? And you kind of already answered it. Like, you even worked in the I love RO because.
It's going to sound cheesy because a lot of people always say this, but it's the people. Like, I still have friends that every time I'm in Dallas, Marcus McShann, Jonathan Grammer, everywhere I go, it's not just coworkers or colleagues, right? They're friends. And I don't know that I don't have the experience because I haven't been anywhere else outside of a wastewater treatment contractor in New Mexico, but I just don't know that you're going to get that anywhere else. And so that, coupled with, you get that family, that culture, that tight knit atmosphere, and you also get to work and build on really cool projects. There's bigger companies than RO that build big stuff and exciting, cool projects, but I don't know that you have those two together, right? I think we're in a sweet spot where you kind of get the best of both worlds.
Yeah, you get to a certain size where some of those bigger, I'll pick on Hansel Phelps because I don't think we have anything to worry about there. But they do awesome stuff, right? They build incredible projects, but there's so many people who are done, right? Where you're just like, hey, you're in Kansas City tomorrow. Today you're in Kansas City today. Tomorrow you're in Austin or Dallas or Milwaukee or whatever. Like, you're not going to have to worry about that here. And to your point, I think you get a lot more say than you do at a lot of those bigger places. And that comes down to that feeling of being family and friends and all that. I would say it's relatively easy for someone to tell an employee, go there. Yeah. It's a lot more difficult to tell a friend, hey, take your family, go there.
Absolutely.
You're going to treat your people better whenever you have that environment of friendship and family and genuine care that you have for one another.
The other thing, you're absolutely right, and it's kind of amazing to me. When I started in 2007, I don't know what we were doing a year, but it was a fraction of what we're doing now. And so it's really easy to say, back in '07 at the size of the 150, 200 million, I don't know what we were doing, somewhere in there. It's easy to have that kind of culture when you're that size of a company. And then to be where we're at today and still have that and do the size of projects and the scale of projects and be spread out over 5 offices, and to maintain that is truly amazing.
Definitely. That's a hope we can keep it going.
Absolutely.
We're doing well so far. We just need to make sure that emphasis is always put foremost, right? Or, I don't know. That's my take on things. So I want to hear more about the quality stuff. Do you consider quality more of a process or an action? Like, is it something that is continuous, or is it more something you do and check off?
I think it's a process that, a lot of people will look at it as, when I say, I'm in quality, it's okay, well, I'm going to go out and I'm going to make sure this is installed correctly. I think there's a lot of different aspects of quality. I mean, it starts in pre-con, right? I mean, making sure that we have a whole number, making sure that the job's planned out, and part of our CPP, I'm not trying to plug that, I promise, but
it's okay if you do. I'm not going to stop you.
But that's part of my role, right? There's quality aspects in everybody's role here at RO, and it's not just QCing work in the field. It all kind of goes, in funnels to one point to make sure it's installed right. But there's a long process before you get to that point. So I would say probably a process more so than a task.
Yeah, that's I think is well justified in your response there. And if we back out a bit, your role is director of quality. What does that what does that mean?
That's a great question.
What do you do day in, day out?
I don't know what that means. I struggle with that title because I feel like it's not. It doesn't feel like that's what I do. So there's a lot of aspects of what I do. So working with pre-construction with the estimators in our CPP process is probably half of the time I spend. Drawing reviews and coordination with design teams. There's a large pursuit aspect of what I do. Obviously, I just came from a 2.5-hour interview on a project that we're trying to get. So that's a big component of it, but it all kind of feeds into trying to set up the job the right way. And then the second, probably most important aspect I would say is the project support, making sure our project teams have what they need to the tools and the processes to be the most effective they can be, and to make sure that we can get it right the first time. And so it's not as hands-on as I would like it to be. It's a little bit more from a distance now in my current role, but I I had this conversation the other day with somebody, about being on a project. There's not one time where I step foot on a project and be like, man, I miss this. I miss it. Because I do. And I every time I do it, I was like, I've got to get more engaged. I've got to get more down into the weeds, with people. And it's tough, being pulled a bunch of different directions with what's going on,
There's no way we're going to wrap all this up in the next 20 minutes. So first, Emma's giving you a shout out as the king of pursuits. So I don't know what you're doing in those rooms for 2 hours, but you're making waves. People know about you. That's Emma Parker, their director of marketing.
Oh, thanks, Emma.
So you mentioned the CPP process a couple of times, which I do believe is trademark. So anyone out there that's trying to jump on board,
can't do it.
Can't. Would you mind elaborating for those that aren't familiar with the CPP process? Just kind of a summary of what it is, what its objectives are, and what some of the kind of tangible outcomes are. All good. Need to get you a cough button. That's on our to-do list.
Yeah, there you go. So high level, this was a kind of a Paul Johnson initiative, I guess. And, we realized long time ago that the time frame that design teams have are being just like us with our schedules, right? Time is money, and speed to market is paramount. And so the design teams that are producing drawings and a design that we're going to go build, their window to do that is just, it continuously is getting narrower and narrower and narrower and shorter and shorter and shorter. And so what that equates to is the drawings we get are I'm not going to say they're all bad, but they're not fully coordinated, and it's not a knock on design teams. It's really they have a certain amount of time that they have to do a design, and so there may be design intent on the drawings versus actually fully vetting details or systems. And so what that does is if we start a project where a set of drawings is not fully baked, or it's not fully coordinated, it really makes our project team that's building the job, it kind of sets them up to fail a little bit, sets them up for a rough ride. And so at the outset of this, we said if we can eliminate as many issues that would be potential RFIs prior to starting construction, it'd be a win, right? And then it's kind of grown from that. That was 7-8 years ago. And, now we're working with VDC and models and, doing, validation, and we have studio sessions that we interact with design teams, and, the VDC specialists are involved in things that when they're validating the models, they're inputting, hey, this discrepancy is we're seeing from structural, architectural, and those type of things. And so it's really involved into more of a collaborative, which is funny because it's collaborative project planning, but there's a lot more players involved now, it feels like, than just simply trying to eliminate RFIs. And so, but that's really high level. What we're trying to do is trying to flush out as many inconsistencies or constructability items or coordination issues before we start the project. It's high level.
It's a beautiful thing in theory. And I think that you and your team, yourself, Miranda, Natalie, Scott, have done an absolutely admirable job of taking your vision, Paul's vision, and turning that into reality. Because that's size.
Yeah. And the not to keep plugging CPP, but all of us, and everybody that you just mentioned that works within this initiative has field experience. And so, that to me is really the differentiator. In the pursuits that I'm a part of a lot, we run up a lot of our competition, says they'll do constructability and, that sort of stuff. But we have a dedicated team that's got field experience, that has relationships with, our superintendents and our PMs, folks that have been PMs, that, have been superintendents before, that are involved in this process. And so it really sets us apart in what we're trying to do versus our competition.
So it was pulled up when we're sharing with everyone that CPP chart.
Oh yeah.
And I just think that's a great image, without getting into too many details, of really what this does for a project team. It front loads all those issues. And now not only are you front loading those issues, that's freeing them up down the road, right? So it's kind of a 2-for-1. They're getting caught and resolved sooner, but that also means you have more bandwidth for whatever fire comes up, midway through construction during submittals or with
Absolutely.
trade partners or what have you. We only have 16 minutes left. This is absurd. 16 minutes. We're both trying to control our coughs here. Ash, I do have a photo here that I'd like to pull up with everybody. And gosh, see, I didn't have it. Sorry, Cesar. There we go. We've got it up on the screen for those guys. And I think, do we have it up over here as well? We're just looking. Do we have this up on the screen? Yeah, okay. So if we could just get a quick synopsis on what was going on here. Who is this young lad that you're with, and what are you doing out here?
Yeah, so I think, I'm not sure if that was a Jonathan Grammer picture. I think it was probably, or Trey Stewart maybe, but that's on my family's ranch down in Hondo, just north of Hondo. That's my son. He's one of the twins. He's the younger, 2 minutes younger than his sister. They'll be 11 in April 4th. They'll be 11. You know, when that picture was taken, there's a couple traditions, I guess, if you'll call it that, where we've started with, and it goes back to kind of the coworkers being friends and what's unique about RO. So Scott Thompson and Trey Stewart and Jonathan Grammer, we have multiple hunting trips that we'll go on, kind of standing trips, whether it's dove hunting or going out to our ranch and, deer hunting. And I think that's probably from one of them. It's funny, this year, I was tied up for something. I can't remember what it was, but, we were coming for our annual deer hunt to the ranch, and Trey and Grammer and, I can't remember if Denny was there, but Scott was there. My son being 10 years old, almost 11, I was tied up. I think I had a meeting or something, and I was like, all right, you're going to have to be the guide. You're going to have to set him out and, tell him, lay of the land and everything. And so it's really cool to be able to, bring that kind of work, it's not really work, but it's, friends from work, and bring that into my personal life. And so, my boy Luke, he knows Scott and Grammer and Trey and Denny, and it's really cool. I mean, and so
I'm worried about the language that he's using at school if he's hanging out around Trey and Denny.
He's pretty mature, and so he understands bad words and good words, or what's he's pretty good. At least around me, he's pretty good. But no, he's a good kid. Both of them are really good kids. So I keep going back to being lucky, but I really lucked out. I always tell people I married up, with my wife, and got really lucky with her, and got really lucky with my kids. I've got good kids, and so I can't complain personally or professionally. So
you'll have to hand some notes off to Cesar and Bruno on how to pull that one off.
It was luck. I don't know. I mean, there's no skill involved. I mean,
you're rolling the dice. So you've mentioned Texas Tech and Texas Tech football and all that. I'm gonna throw this at you because you had a chance to look at this. What do you think we could all learn from Mike Leach?
Oh man, I love Leach. I was really sad when he left. Sorry.
Oh, you're
better.
Perfect.
He showed everybody that you didn't have to have all the answers. You didn't have to have a high level of football experience and coaching. I mean, he was a lawyer. I mean, he really broke the mold of you can do what you want to do, right? You don't have to, just because you fit into this box, being a lawyer, that doesn't necessarily mean that, if your dream of being a college football coach or, whatever, you don't have to stick with that. You can really do whatever you want to do if you put your mind to it. There's so many different memes and YouTube clips of him. The best one, when I was there, was he was on a local weather station doing the weather. And, he's in front of the green screen, which, doing the live lunch and learns that we did during COVID, I really gained an appreciation for this because that's what we did. But he was actually in front of a green screen doing the weather. And so he's trying to point out, different things, and she's kind of blocking most of the screen. And
it's like a bad salsa dance out there.
Yeah. And I don't know what I can say on this, but he basically said, "Oh, screw it." I don't think that's the word he said, but he said, you don't need any of this. You do what I do. You walk out your front door, and he does this number. Yep, it's going to rain today. Take an umbrella. Bring a jacket. That's all you need to know about the weather. And literally walks off the set. It's probably one of my favorite Mike Leach clips out there. But the other thing I'd say about Mike Leach, if you haven't read his book, Swing Your Sword, he had a fascination with pirates. It's an incredible book, and it talks about, pushing boundaries, and just because, you're, a lawyer doesn't mean you can't be a football coach. And, just because you don't fit into this box doesn't mean you can be, you can't be successful at something else. And so it's a great book. He wrote it. I can't remember. I think he wrote it while he was at Tech. Yeah, I'm pretty sure he did. But yeah, I'd highly recommend that.
That was Swing Your Sword
Swing Your Sword.
by Mike Leach. I don't
Yep.
know if that's in the.
I think it
Leach
is
Drive.
actually.
Is it?
Yeah, I told Todd when they first started the Libra thing that we needed to add that. So
Gotcha.
I got a hard copy if anybody wants to read it. It's pretty good.
Signed.
No, I wish.
We'll see if our wonder staff over there can pull up Libro and post up a link to that in the chat in the next 10 minutes. If not, we'll throw it in the, what do they call it? The show notes on podcast? I don't know. Still hesitate to call us a podcast. Just doesn't seem like for anyone who doesn't know, yourself included, I hate seeing myself on camera or hearing my own voice.
I'm glad there's no screens right here.
I wouldn't be able to do it. Believe me, I'm seeing a thumbnail myself throughout this whole thing, and it's terrifying me. I just try not to look at it, but I try to keep up with the comments and all that. I forgot where I was going with that in the whole, but yeah, that's he's on it. Thank you. Gosh, I can't believe we're just flying through this so quick. What do you like to do for fun, Ash? You like hunting? And by the way, sorry, before we go any further, Jimmy Shorts, I know you had a question on CPP. I don't know that we're going to be able to squeeze that in, but we'll try to get Ash to answer that after the fact here, and maybe we'll hold on to that for a secret show, if you will. But Mr. Scott Thompson says he's the most polite kid I've ever met in my entire life, and I'm assuming he's referring to Luke.
I think he's talking about Luke. Yeah. Sometimes too nice.
A little suspect.
His sister takes advantage of that.
Oh,
Yeah.
oh.
But, yeah, he's a good kid. Again, I got really lucky.
So beyond hunting and going out, spending time with the family, what do you like to do? Or is that what you like to do? Is that occupy most
Yeah,
of
I
your
mean,
time?
I love hunting. I've been fortunate to be on go on a lot of really cool hunting trips. I also love being on the water. So where I grew up, my family has a little cabin on Medina Lake, which for those that don't know, it's best way to describe it is kind of between Kerrville, San Antonio, and Hondo, I guess, kind of base of the hill country, start of the hill country. And it's a beautiful lake when it's full. It's an irrigation lake, but so it's constantly being drained. But growing up there, just developed a passion for being on the water and water sports, and so that's kind of transitioned to my kids now. They love to ski and wakeboard and surf and tube and just hanging out on the water. And so it's when the lake cooperates, that's where we're at on the weekends during the summer. So
Gotcha. You mentioned hunting. I'll ask you this I have a feeling that there's a lot of folks out there that are probably into hunting. Do you have a favorite round? And if so, why?
Ooh. So I'm not, I've got a lot of buddies that, nerd out into different rounds and things like that. I have a 6.5 PRC that's suppressed that I use for most of my deer hunting, most of the things that I hunt. I like it. It's a 270-ish, for the old school kind of. It's a newer round, but it kind of became kind of a fad, the PRC and the Creedmoors, but it's a pretty heavy gun. So my son Luke can shoot it, and he's kind of developed into a pretty good hunter himself too. And so that's kind of my go-to. I just bought a Christensen 300 Rum, which is a 300 Remington Ultra Mag for kind of larger game. So a group of buddies and I are going on an all-dad hunt in West Texas this summer, so I'll probably take that one. So those are kind of my two go-tos, and then I've got a bunch of ARs and different things that I've kind of collected over the years. But yeah,
who hasn't in Texas?
Yeah, exactly.
Well, there you go. Now your lovely wife has some gift giving information. She can go out there and source out some more 6.5 ammo for you.
Yeah, it's hard to find.
I feel like it's all hard to find nowadays, isn't it?
It is. You can find it. You better buy it.
I think we've got time for a couple more questions here. We only have 5 minutes left. It's absolutely flying by. I want to ask this question because I thought this was a good one to ask. If if there was a biographic film about Ash Gilliam, the story of Ash, I don't know what we're going to call this yet, but you've got young Ash out there milking a cow, and then you've got college Ash drinking a bush at a bar outside of Santa Fe, and then you've got grown man Ash out there toting his 6'5" and his mule with his kids. Who's playing that role?
Oh man, I don't know. I don't know how to answer that. I guess like growing up, from a background. I mean, one of my favorite. I don't know. I don't know how to answer that. I don't know if I would go like who I always get compared to, or
who is that? Out of curiosity, now you've piqued my curiosity.
So my friends always joke Bradley Cooper, I guess, because of the beard, like in what's the Star is Born, where he's kind of like the singer or whatever. I don't see it.
Who's Bradley Cooper?
Yeah, he's in The Hangover. He's much better,
taller fella in The
much
Hangover?
better looking than me. So I don't get it, but like I mean, like Harrison Ford. I love all of Harrison Ford's movies. So I don't know. He seems kind of country. I don't know. That's a tough one.
I could see it. I'll reach out to Harrison Ford and Bradley Cooper and see if they're available for casting in that.
Yeah, there you go.
Little R&D project we have going on. We should make the story of Ash. That'd be fun. That'd be a good retirement gift. Here's a movie that we made about you.
Yeah.
We went and spent RO's entire profit for several years getting this actor to come represent you. Enjoy it.
Yeah, I'd probably be dead by then. I got a long way to go still. I retire.
I think so. We've got a couple minutes left here. If you could give young Ash Gilliam some advice, to 10-year-old Ash, perhaps Luke in that case, what would you tell him?
I do have an answer for this one. I would say live in the moment. And I'm guilty of this still to this day. In the world we live in today, there's so many. It's so driven by you gotta, when I get to 25, I want to be at X point in my career, and I want to be able to do this, and then once I get there, I want to be able to do this, and then I want to, have a family by this point in my life, or I want to own my own house, or I think that, especially for me, I never really stopped and we're sitting here talking about how lucky I am, personally and professionally in my life, and I really haven't stopped to kind of enjoy it. And so I would say, enjoy the moment, live in the moment, because, it goes by quick. I mean, I can vividly remember my twins being born, and it seems like yesterday. And like I said, in 3 weeks, they're going to be 11. And so it goes by a lot quicker, than you think. And, those early days of my kids and, how stressful that was, not just trying to remember the stress, but live in that moment and enjoy it, because it doesn't last long and it goes by quickly. So that's what I would say.
Live in the moment, embrace
live in the moment. Yeah, embrace it.
That's a beautiful thing. Yeah, because I think far too many people do get caught up in the here and now, and in the grind, if you will.
Yep.
It's easy. I woke up like 3 o'clock this morning thinking about a couple of things work related, and I just couldn't get it out of my mind. And at some point in time, I was laying there in bed and just thinking about how lovely life is. And I stress over some of these little things so much
that don't matter. They don't matter. They really doesn't.
Right.
I mean, it stressing over the little things is something that's taken me a long, long time to be able to say, hey, this is dumb that I'm stressing out or keeping me up at night, like you're saying. It's taken me, I'm 38 now, so it's taken me a good portion of my life to learn that. But I feel like I'm, identifying it and knowing it is kind of the first step to, changing it or trying to change it. So
Something we can definitely all learn from and all improve on.
Absolutely.
Ash, we're at 2:00. I know people, like I said, they've got their 1 hour drive. We don't want to drag this out too long, but this was a ton of fun.
Yeah, it was. I apologize for being late.
All good. Not your fault at all. You're out there trying to make sure that R&D can continue to exist and leech off of all the great work that everyone else does so that we can find ways to make it a wee bit better. Thank you to everyone that jumped on board. I think we played an OpsX commercial, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, so get out there, playbook. Check out the playbook. Playbook's a good place to write things down, find what you need, get out there, use it. It's a great tool. And next week, it's spring break's going on. The Austin office is being remodeled, so we don't have a place to stream from. So there will not be a live stream next week. But the following week, we come back and we have Ms. Jennifer Gonzalez, the director of the Houston office.
That'll be a good one.
So it'll be a lot of fun to have her here. She'll be talking to us about what it's like to be a leader. And it's Women in Construction Month, so it'll be a lot of fun to have some representation in that field.
It's almost like you timed that.
Almost. Not how it worked out at all, but not going to fight it. So thank you all. This will be up on Spotify and Apple, hopefully within a day or two. And Wes, I apologize to you for it taking so long to get yours out there. Had some technical difficulties, but we've got them resolved now. So Ash, thank you again very much. We'll see you all later.
Thank you.